Hi, David.
Yes.
Hey.
Hello, Katie.
Hey, how's the city by the bay? How's the David?
The David is good and the
Good.
city is beautiful and you're
Yeah.
looking
Oh,
beautiful.
thank you.
Um, Coaches want to make a difference in people's lives. I talk to a lot of people who they almost can't believe it's true that they could sit down with somebody and help them in their life. And then when they consider that they could maybe even get paid for it, I know they want it so much, but there's so much that comes up to stop them. And that's what I'd like to talk to you about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have so many thoughts about other people, like I said the wrong thing, or they don't understand what I'm saying, or what are some that you have encountered, David?
Yeah, well, I did a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet and I came up with some good ones.
Good.
Um, So one that came up for me, and people have also sent in some one-liners. A big one is, "I'm not good enough to coach." Who am I to guide someone in their life? What if people discover I'm a fraud? I don't have my own life together. How can I coach others?
Yeah. Well, if someone thinks, I'm not good enough to be a coach, they could be right. So for me, first I would consider that I really could be right. Maybe it's not my thing. Maybe it's something I want to do, and maybe it's just not my talent. So, I'd really look to that. And what I've learned for myself, David, is I was always coaching my children, coaching my husband, coaching the people around me, my friends, but my information was not that great. And those people that didn't listen to me, I'm really grateful for that today. But then when I began to coach myself, when I began to coach myself and see where I was a fraud, where I was deceitful, and I began to wake up to that, then I became, and it's nothing I decided, but I just naturally became someone that people could listen to, that people could relate to, that some people saw some value in some of the things that I say. And and that came out of just coaching myself, knowing myself, and just clearing the field of all that inauthenticity. And so that I can, when I do speak, if no one else finds it valuable, I do. Because when we're into self-coaching, then we're always expanding, we're always growing, and the people we are coaching always grow us. So let's say as a coach, which I've never considered myself to be, but my word is friend. But in your field, like let's call it coaching, then as I coached, I grew, my clients grew, and I continue to grow. And so someone in 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 that two environment, the coach and the coached, somewhere in that environment, one person is growing for sure, and that person is always me. And again, in that kind of relationship with the self, in my experience, we all grow. We all grow, but it's quite a responsibility to oneself to remain authentic, and that can be really fearful for some people. But the more we know ourselves, the less fearful we become. The more intimate we become, the more connected we become with ourselves, the more connected we become with others. We become with others.
So what I'm hearing is, in a coaching session, I'm going to get value out of what I say because I'll be
Yes.
listening to myself. And
Yes.
if they get value, that's a bonus.
Yes. Yes. Yes, and I already know my lies. I already know my inauthentic self, and I've heard enough of that. So it's into the new. It's into self-discovery. Now, people are fascinated in that because it's something we can connect with. And as coaches, or as a coach, that's beautiful. It's effortless to coach.
I'm also hearing here, work on yourself. If you have doubts about, do I really have what it takes, or do I have a lot to offer, work on myself first. And then as I get clearer, I'll be able to offer more to others.
Oh my goodness, yes. You know, as we get clearer, that clarity is what we have to offer others. And where they're not quite that clear yet, we have real, enlightenment, something of value to offer, and that's fascinating for the people that contact us for help.
You mentioned being authentic. You've said it a couple of times. What do you think of the idea of a coach telling someone that they're sitting down with if they're nervous, or telling someone if they've got thoughts about, my life is not together, I'm not perfect either? What do you think about just laying that out on the table?
Well, it's in line for me. It's in line with authenticity. Just to put myself on the table. It's nothing I have to do, but it helps me as, let's say, a coach. It helps me come to the table with connected and not and from the space of equality rather than I'm here to teach you.
Wow, that's huge. That's huge. I think a lot of coaches, and me included, we often want to have an image like I'm a teacher and I have it together, and let me show you how to have a better life like I do. But then what's eating away is my life isn't perfect. I don't have it all together.
Yeah. And as far as like, for example, if I thought I had it all together, it's like, how could I know that? I have a whole apparent future to live. So how do I know if I have it all together? I don't know what's coming next. So to say I have it all together, I just really would want to look at a statement like that. And also, if I believed I had it all together, I'd have to live up to that. I'd have to live a life of proving it. And that's a major burden. That's too much for me.
It is. It is. That does sound like quite a burden to have to, I'm a guru and I will always be a guru. Come learn from me.
Yeah, and if I leave that impression with my clients, if they walk away with that impression, that's one thing. But if I've done anything to facilitate that intentionally, to be seen as you say, that I'm a coach. That's not what you said, David, but that I'm a coach identity, then when I run into them on the street, I have to shift into that identity, and it's entirely phony. And I just don't do it to me. I deserve more than that, and I deserve to offer more than that to the people that would trust themselves with me as a coach.
What I'm hearing here is a real vulnerability to say, I'm human, I'm everything. I'm not going to try and pretend to be something else with you. You're going to get to see different sides of me, and I'm here to help.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, and that is someone that I'm comfortable sitting down with.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So the coaches who are willing to be authentic and saying, I'm not pretending I have it all together, I'm sitting from a place of equality, you're more likely to want to be with.
Yeah, and we're more likely to be comfortable as a coach.
Do you ever have doubts getting up on stage?
No, I don't. I'm not. There's no attempt to live up to being seen in a specific way. There's no. I don't know who I'm going to be on the stage, so we all get to find out together. It's just so. It's just the first time someone asked me to speak to an audience, I thought, my goodness, because I was agoraphobic for so many years. The fear of the marketplace and of people, and to just stand there and just wait to see what would come out of its face. But when you understand that. It's like I understood I'm here to help, and maybe the best way of doing that would be just to stand on the stage and say nothing, and that is a lot more to offer than standing up there as a facade and pretending to be someone I'm not. I'd rather say nothing. It's kinder. And, standing on that stage, something did come out, and I liked it, and they seemed to like it, and they all stood afterward, and my first thought was they're just, they're running out of the building, but no, they just stood up to applaud, and that was really fascinating, and things like that just show you the way. It's okay to be authentic.
I'm picturing now a coach sitting down with a new client or a potential client and saying nothing.
Yeah.
It seems a radical idea to not have to lead, not have to tap dance, and to just say nothing until there's something to say.
I just don't know anything more powerful. There's no stress, there's no push, there's no pull, there's no expectation, and it leaves that coach in the position of being the listener and the one that can really take in what they're hearing from their client and to respond out of that. And that would be a real service. There aren't many listeners in the world.
But Katie, what if nothing happens? What if you sat down and they've come to you for value and they leave the session going, I'm still where I was, nothing happened?
If you mean that question literally, and someone came to me and I said nothing because nothing came to me, like they didn't say anything, I didn't say anything, and they could walk away enlightened. You know what happens in that space, David? I would have thoughts, my client would have thoughts, and they would like their thoughts or not, and I would like my thoughts or not. What they would do is project onto me. They would think, whatever they would think would be their experience in that coaching session.
But now I'm feeling some pressure on myself to give some kind of value, and so I'm worried what they're going to think of me.
Well, then I would ask them, what did you think of this session? Did the silence assist you in any way? What were you thinking as we sat there quietly together? What was comfortable for you? What was uncomfortable for you? Now, I would ask those questions because I really want to know.
That feels really edgy to me, to not have something prepared or something that's going to be really good, to not have them walking away saying, that was really great.
Yeah. Well, it can be done both ways. It's okay to plan, and in that last scenario, I've experienced it many times.
I just saw, and this has come up for me with you a number of times, you keep on reminding me so gently about the need for approval. So sitting down with a potential client or getting up on stage or calling someone to say, do you want to experience coaching with me? One of the things that comes up for new coaches is I'll be bothering people, or they'll be annoyed at me that I'm trying to sell them something.
Well, for me, I just wouldn't sell. I wouldn't do that to me. I just, when you really understand yourself and you understand your life is about serving others, and that is how to serve yourself, then it just is, you're someone that people gravitate toward. And, it's okay to sell yourself as long as what you're selling is authentically yours. There's that word again, that it's really something you can offer. That's okay. People have a right to know that. And, but I think that's the line. And if I am attempting to sell someone something that I don't really have, then, like, for example, If I said, I really want to hear about your life, okay? I wouldn't say that if I didn't want to really hear about someone's life. So when that person contacted me, they're contacting someone that really wants to hear about their life, and someone that really understands that if they really tell me about their life, then together, it's like maybe I could assist them, and together we could make some real headway.
I like that idea of together. I think a lot of coaches, and I'm one of them, think, I need to take this on, like it's my responsibility to help this person, and who knows what will come out of the interaction.
Yeah, who knows? You just can't know. But if, as a coach, if you're comfortable sitting with that client, then again, you're going to come out with a wonderful session. And if someone doesn't like my session, they wouldn't have to pay me for it.
I could see that taking a lot of pressure off people.
Well, it sure takes a lot of pressure off of the coach.
Yeah, yeah. It's like if this isn't a value, if you don't pay it, or pay me whatever you feel it's worth at the end of it.
Well, I wasn't thinking of giving that up front or any kind of guarantee. I was, it's just that if they determine not to pay me, then I would certainly understand why.
A lot of coaches give introductory sessions or maybe a 30-minute experience of coaching. And something that comes up, I wanted to put this one to you, they will all say no. When I call to invite my friends, they'll all say no. No one's going to say yes to me.
And that's inviting them to a session?
Inviting them to a 30-minute consultation to see if coaching would be a fit for them.
And they all say no?
Well, that's the thought.
Oh,
That's the thought.
I
They're all going to
see.
say, I could call 10 people a day. They're all going to say no. They're going to think I'm bothering them. No one's going
Okay,
to say
so
yes.
so of course that one I'd take to inquiry as I would all of these, but they will all say no. All my friends will say no. Is that true? Can I absolutely know? Can I really know that it's true? They would all say no. And then I would notice how I react when I think that thought, and how I put it off, and how I don't act on it, and how my coaching assistance doesn't grow, how my client list doesn't grow, and how it feels when I think the thought they'll say no, and how that burns inside. And then the images that come out of that, of me embarrassed and them saying no, and how small that keeps me, and what fear it creates when I believe that thought, they'll all say no. And then to notice, who would I be without the thought? Who would I be without the thought? They'll all say no if I call them. And then to find out, just to find out, to see if I'm right or wrong, just to test my mind. Is it on track, or is it just stuck as a believer? And to see how
I like that.
freeing that is. And also when we sit in in that fourth question, who would I be without the thought? I can sit in those images and I can witness all of them say no, and I can see, that image of me clearly. It doesn't kill me. I don't disintegrate. I'm still here. I'm still breathing. I'm still alive. Everyone has a right to say no. It could be that they all have legitimate excuses for saying no. I can see me being more compassionate toward those people that say no to me, and stay connected, not as in that third question, react and separate and feel resentful and small. So after that fourth question, just sitting in, who would I be without the thought, then turning it around, they'll all say no, they'll all say yes. And then to just experience that. That may be more frightening than the original. They'll all say
Yes.
no. So they'll all say yes. So just seeing that, it's like, oh my gosh, they'll all say yes, or even one of them that would say yes. I don't know if I really want that or not. And, if they all say no, that could, that would be okay. So we learn a lot through inquiry. And it's like, good if they do, good if they don't. Because there is a really powerful source running everything. And I see that source as love, and no one comes to me that isn't the right one. And if I invite someone and they say no, that's the higher order. So I just continue to grow myself, to coach myself. And so they'll all say no, turned around, and I'll say no. to them, and where is it that I was feeling resentful and determining never to call them again, and to stay separate from them, and go into all the hurtful "it's not fairsies" and things like that, or "they owe me," and that's all a no to the self and a no to the other person. So each one of these, David, that you bring forward to all of us, they could all use a little inquiry. Those 4 questions and turnarounds that you and I like to play in. They're a beautiful way for one to sit in oneself. And when I am speaking to like coaching ourselves, of course, that's what I'm referring to: self-inquiry and experience.
Something you said really struck me, to test if the mind is on track.
Mm-hmm.
And I was seeing, as you went through that inquiry, I was relating to "they'll say no." Just thinking about people promoting the event, I'm thinking, oh, they'll say no.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you said test if your mind's on track, I could already see, I don't know that. Some of them are going to say yes. Just by the law of numbers, some of them will say yes.
Yeah.
But my mind is disconnecting from them,
Yeah.
pulling
Yeah.
away from them.
Yeah.
Maybe I call up and they say no and we have a great conversation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's saying yes. That is you saying yes to yourself and saying yes to them. So we're into the living turnarounds.
Mm. I can see how I want to say no before they can.
Mm-hmm.
Let me jump in first and not even call. And then that'll be easier.
Yeah. That's that no is what we're projecting, and it's it can really stop some of you as coaches, that your life really is about service to others, and you really understand that is, it is your heart's desire. And so anywhere you're stuck, I certainly invite you to inquiry and self-coaching.
Coach yourself first before you can coach others.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever, I'm going to try not to put answers, assume the answers. Do you ever, when you offer the school to people, do you ever think, what if everybody says no? What if no one signs up out of 200 people to the school?
Well, it's there's a huge price tag for that, because these hotels have to be guaranteed sometimes $250 million, whether one person shows up or not. So it's quite an example that you bring to the table here. And do I ever contemplate it? I just see it as basically I put the invitation out there, and people say yes or not. But because enough people have come to the school, I'm able to back that up and live out of that integrity that would back it up. And the money is only about moving the work anyway.
Mm. So what I'm getting now for coaches, I'm seeing that coaches can offer their price. Mm-hmm. And I'm hearing you trusting people to make that decision for themselves.
Yes.
Either they'll say yes or no, and you trust that that's the right decision for them. If they say yes, great. If they say no, great.
Yeah. And that's really how it is. If they say yes, it's better for them. How do I know it's better for them? They said no. Mm. And how do I know it's better for me and the school's better for everyone? They said no. And then it's the same for the people who say yes.
And you said that you've had people already come to the school and they've gotten value, so you have that to back it up. What would you say to a coach who's just getting started and they've set a fee, but they don't have all those testimonials to back it up yet?
Well, just to see what happens, and to look back at how you've determined your fee. The way I determine my fees are, for example, I go to the internet and I see, looking at the school again, I see what the higher priced 9-day events are, and I see what the lower priced 9-day events are, and then I find the middle of that, and then I drop it. So that is how I know the values there. On top of what I'm offering at that 9-day school is just, it's completely, authentically back to the self, showing people, in the terms we're speaking to today, self-coaching, self-inquiry, self-realization, ease within the self, peace.
And I want to give a plug for the school too. Now might be a good time. I went and did the school with you, the 9 days.
Yeah.
And there's an exercise that we won't speak of because it's a nice surprise. And you said to everybody, with us standing in a circle, is the universe friendly? And with tears streaming down our faces, we all just nodded.
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of head stuff, and you can think intellectually, but this thing did profoundly move me in a way I haven't been before. So I do encourage everybody to go and do the 9-day school for the work.
It shifts the way we see ourselves and the world in a profound way that is real. So we're not making ourselves think positively. We're really experiencing the universe honestly as kind. And when we don't see it that way, we can still see glimpses, and until finally we just come to an understanding of our true nature, and then everything out of that is really lovely.
Can I throw some more one-liners on the table?
Yeah.
All right. And all of these are, of course, related in some way, but a big one is people will reject me, and I will be a failure.
Okay.
I'll go and invite all these people. I'll all say no, and here's me with no one, and I'm just a failure.
Yeah. Okay. So then I would ask myself, I would inquire into that. And so let's do it with you. So everyone agreed it was terrible, that your event was terrible. So you are a failure. Is it true?
And even better, no one shows up.
Yeah, no one shows up.
So I got a big room and maybe 2 people in the front row. Is it true I'm a failure?
Okay, so that's the situation. Yeah, no one has shown up.
And Jack Canfield's coming in an hour, right? And he's got to see me and my 2 friends.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
That's right. So
yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a failure.
So you're a failure in that situation. Can you really know? Can you absolutely know it's true that you're a failure?
I'm gonna go with no, because I'm not totally sure what my purpose as a human being is.
Yeah.
And I can't be absolutely sure it's to fill a room full of people. So I'm coming down on no.
Yeah.
I can't be absolutely sure.
That's lovely. That's lovely. Yeah, that certainly is powerful. It can really give us that no there, seeing what you realized. So the third question, notice how you react. What happens when you think the thought, you're a failure, and Jack Canfield's coming in 1 hour?
Well, I've definitely got the image. And maybe the look on his face when he comes into the room expecting, a big group of people, and then here's me and my 2 friends.
Yeah.
I imagine disappointing him. I think about my friends thinking that guy, he's not a good coach or a trainer. He doesn't have it together.
And feel what it feels like emotionally when you think the thought, I'm a failure.
Well, I feel contracted, and I feel like a coldness in my body.
Yeah. Now imagine how you treat Jack Canfield when you think the thought, I'm a failure, and he walks in the door, and experience those emotions as well. So witness that.
Yeah, I can see I don't want him there. I'd be like almost wishing he had to cancel. And so here he is. He's coming to offer his gifts to everybody, and I'm like, don't walk in the room.
Yeah.
So I definitely disconnected from him, and disconnected from the people who did show up.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's very powerful. Anything else? How do you react? What happens when you think the thought, I'm a failure, and Jack Canfield's walking in the room? I have one. Would you like to hear it?
Yes, I would.
And hopefully all of you coaches watching this are following this within your own self. And what I saw was making all kinds of excuses for the people that didn't show up, for me, for the event. It just looks really painful, making excuses for an event where two people really maybe are finding a lot of value.
Yeah. Yeah. So I can see him attached to a number. I got an idea of what's right.
And feel what embarrassment feels like.
Yeah, I can see myself standing up on stage feeling pretty lonely.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, in a big room.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm a failure. So in that same situation, imagine him walking in the room, in that big room. There are only two people there. Who would you be? What would you be without the thought, I'm a failure?
Without the thought, I'd be excited to see Jack. I really would. I've been wanting more time with him, and we'd really get some time to sit and talk. Also, I'd be excited for these two people.
Yeah, it would give them an opportunity to sit with both of you, which you could not do with an entire group.
It would be extraordinary. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And personal. Close up and personal, isn't that what they say?
Yeah.
And warm and big and successful. So let's turn it around. I'm a failure. What is the opposite?
I'm a success.
Yeah. So give me examples in that situation where you are a success.
Because the two people who are there, it's absolutely going to rock their world. They're not going to be able to believe what's going on. I'm a success because I get time to really sit with Jack and talk with him about his life and his coaching and learn a lot from that. I'm a success because I went for it. I can really find that I put it out there and I invited, and the people who needed to be there showed up.
Yeah.
I can find that.
Yeah. And for me, I'm a success whether anyone shows up or not, because number one, I'm comfortable with it. Number two, I invited Jack and I'm here to meet him fully, not embarrassed, as a host, and grateful. And I can see clearly that it's not people that bring me down, but what I'm believing about people that bring me down, about people and myself. And so I don't know how it gets any more successful than that, David. I just don't. If there's, that's my life, and I love it, and no one has to show up but me. So I'm free to go anywhere. I'm free to be with anyone. It's a fearless life, and that comes out of a lot of mental coaching. In other words, questioning my fears. And those of you listening to this, I think, we're all blessed just to sit in this situation with David and really see the worst that can happen and the best that can happen are the same event with nothing changed.
Another question that comes up big time. I realize that there's so much pressure, coaches feel a lot of pressure when they're sitting with someone. Because of how they think they will look. We've looked at that. I'll be a failure. But I think sometimes there's the belief I need clients. Like if I'm a coach and I'm starting a coaching business, I need clients. I need clients to pay the bills.
Yeah, so you need clients to pay the bills. Is that true?
Well, I can, for myself, I would say no. And I'm thinking about all the coaches out there who are feeling like I actually need to put food on the table, and
So,
I've got
so,
credit card debt.
so take it on like someone that has no money.
All right, so yeah, I need to pay the bills. I got to pay off my credit card. I need this to work. I don't have a job right now.
So you need people to show up to pay the bills. Can you absolutely know that it's true? And yes, you have no money. And yes, you have bills. And you need people to show up so that you can pay your bills. Is that true?
I'm going to say yes.
And how do you react? What happens when you believe that thought?
I feel a lot of pressure and stress. I don't want to call people because I think they're going to say no. I'm feeling very attached to what they say. And then I feel resentful to the three people I did call yesterday and offered them coaching, and they didn't even get back to me.
Yeah.
So now I'm mad at my friends.
Yeah. And also pretty desperate and terrified.
Yes.
Because if you're believing that thought, if I believe that thought, I would be pretty desperate and terrified. So in that question 3, within those 4 questions, how do I react when I think that thought? Anticipating, watching my email box, going to the mailbox. The event day comes and I have a total of all my bills and only 2 people have registered, only 2 people have shown up. How do I react when I believe that thought? I can't connect with the 2 people that are there. I'm a victim immediately. I'm a victim when I believe that thought. And then David, in that situation, who would you be without the thought? I need people to show up so that I can pay my bills.
Without the thought, I need clients. Without the thought, I need people to say yes. It's hard for me to imagine not having that thought with credit card debt, but if I really try, yeah, it feels like a stretch. It's like a real stretch to.
So I can see me there with the thought and without the thought. Either way, there are only 2 people there. Either way, I have the debt.
Well, I'm thinking more about calling people to invite them to be clients.
Okay, so it's a different. So
Yeah, for people, inviting people to be their
okay,
clients.
okay. So who would I be without the thought? Connecting with the people that I call. Not worried, hearing from them why they can or cannot come, or if they are or are not coming. The ones that answer quickly, leave time for me to call other people on my schedule, and
Okay.
everything's a flow.
I
And
can see that. I can see that without all that attention on I need clients or they'll say yes or no, I'm actually free to talk to them about their life.
yeah, you're actually already coaching.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, rather than in a state of it's all about me and the money I'm going to make to pay my bills. Da.
So that thought does stop me coaching.
Yeah,
It
it
stops me
does.
actually being there for them. And without the thought, I could actually be curious, like what's going on. Whether or not they want to do an introductory session with me, whether or not they want to be a client, I can actually be with them on the call. I can see that.
Yeah. So you're coaching already. It could do some good, whether they come or not, and they may just call you back, and that would help you pay your bills, or maybe they'll sign up, or maybe not. But you're coaching. You're coaching, and that's what's important.
Attention off the self.
So I need people to show up to pay my bills, turn it around.
I don't need, well, I turn around, I need clients. So I don't need clients.
to show up
I don't need clients to show up
so I can pay my bills.
so I can pay my bills.
Okay, so give me an example.
Well, that's true because I could sell my car.
Yeah.
I could sell my car. I could cut my expenses. I could move somewhere that's cheaper and take the pressure off myself. I could go and get a part-time job to bring in some money to take the pressure off.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you really want to coach, that would allow you to coach and pay your bills. And either way, bills paid or not, you can still coach. If you
Right.
you have found something within yourself to pass on to other people, that experience, but no matter what happens, and you're comfortable with yourself, that's a coach that I would like to sit with. So can you find another turnaround, another opposite? I need me to show up.
Yes, I need me to show up to pay my bills.
Yeah.
I need me to show up to pay my bills. Yeah, I need to sit down and cut whatever expenses need to be cut.
Well, actually, as I recall, it was about coaching. So I need me to show up as a coach and pay my bills. It's like right here, right now, on these calls where I'm inviting people. I need me as a coach to show up and pay my bills.
Oh, that's good. I need to show up as a coach, actually really interested in them to give value.
Yes, and why wait for the event? If you want to coach now. And that's a wonderful thing about being a coach, in the way we're looking at it. You bump into someone you've never met before. You're always a coach. You meet a friend or acquaintance as you're shopping. We're always passing something of value on if we found it within ourselves. If we have it to give, it's spontaneous.
I was going to ask you, a lot of people ask, where am I going to get clients? Where am I going to find people? And I think you just answered it. Because I imagine you're sharing the work or sharing something in so many interactions every day. It doesn't have to be people in a room who've come, paid to come and see you.
It just has nothing to do with it. I am myself, and that is helpful or it's not. And it's certainly helpful to me. I'm the one living this life. I'm the one that lives in my own head, and it's always helpful. And so that we just pass that on naturally. If I'm fearful, that's what I pass on. And if I'm at home in my own head, that's what I pass on. And even when we're not at home in our own head, we still, it's this expanding it's an ongoing process. We can start from where we are in our own fear and coach, or coach, be honest, and continue to grow and coach.
What about coaching is too expensive?
Well, it's not my area, but coaching. But if we see me as a coach, and I put my events up there in the way that I described is what I'm comfortable with, and I've heard a lot around it, like charge a lot of money, and people will see more value in it. But I have just always stuck with that method. I just love balance, right in the center, and just lower it a little, just because what was given to me is given freely. And we do, David, we do have venue spaces and staff and to pay, et cetera. But balance, that's it. And whether you have those expenses or not, balance, because we're always coaching. And if I give it away free all the time, which is what I do until, some of my events I do charge for. But to keep that balance, and I've lost track in my head of where we were going, so
Well,
I'm going to have to drop it.
Well, I think you're onto something now because a lot of people think it's not right to charge. How can I charge for something so profound and something that's not mine? What do you say to people who say, how can I charge for this?
Well, in the beginning, it didn't occur to me to charge, and because I didn't have a reference. And then people started giving me money. And then they began to show me basically just through coaching me, through experience, just through life. And so I was able to just put upon the internet, like the first school was 29 days, and which it's the 9-day school now. But it was 29 days, and I put it up on the internet, and I knew people would come or not. It is just none of my business. My job is to offer it, and then if they come, we'll say, to use your term, I coach. If they don't come, I coach. I coach myself. If one person comes, I coach that person, and I'm always coaching myself. And it has just continued to grow and grow, and it really is, I just don't know. It just all came out of, I call it the way of it. If I have something of value, and you coaches, if you have something of value, you offer it, and people come or they don't. But do you show up?
I just got so much out of that because before I was thinking I'll show up for the two people there, but now I'm getting, I'll show up for myself.
Yeah, because one person's going to be there, and that's you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and the rest
that's everything.
Yes, that's really good. Yeah. And do you think, what do you think of the point of view that that it's just not right to charge money? The people who think like money's kind of evil or it's wrong or I shouldn't be, how can I expect someone to pay me $300 this month to help them with their life? It's just wrong.
Yeah. Well, then don't charge.
But then I need to eat, Katie.
Yeah. So charge and my response always, David, is, it's okay if I do, it's okay if I don't. It's what am I at ease with both? And for me, I'm always giving this thing that came freely. Just when I wake up in the morning, I'm receiving. I'm giving it to one human being. I'm giving it to myself, and then I open my eyes and there's Stephen, and it's giving again, and it's just, it's ongoing, this giving thing, and coaching is a wonderful way to give and to share.
I think your method, I could see a lot of people taking that on because some people, they don't want to charge too much. They don't want to charge too little. So how simple to take the high point, take the low point, find what everyone's offering, and then work out where in there you want to be.
Yeah. For me, I go just a little lower because when people say you charge too much, then they have a right to that opinion, and I know that I'm right in there, and if anything, a little lower, so that I can just really stay connected with them and out of a compassionate heart, just understand that that's a lot of money for them. And also, David, that's why everything I have is free at thework.com. I just, it's just not about the money. And to move something, if you're really, let's say, good at coaching, it takes a lot of payroll and a lot of help and support, and your event can really. It could really support a lot of people, so a lot of people can pay their bills.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we've only got a few more minutes to wrap up, so let me just check what else I have. I am curious, just to throw it open to you, is there any kind of a message or a general advice that you'd like to offer to people who want to offer the gift of coaching to the world?
Yeah, to end all the fear within you, and inquiry is the way that that I've experienced. And so I would say, you know, do the work and coach yourself first and love what you do and let people grow you. All those people that show up or don't show up, they'll grow you. And suffering is optional.
I like that. That's beautiful. I think I have one more here. We've hit the whole list. This last one is... No, you know what, Katie? I think we've covered it.
Good.
I think we've covered it. I had some specific questions for you, but you've answered those about who am I to guide people? What if people don't sign up? Can people be paid? Thank you.
You're welcome, honey. I don't know. You know, using the coach word is a little odd for me, but I hope that I've been helpful in some way, David.
Well, for you, I could see how it would be because you tend very much to ask the questions and let people find their own answers.
Yeah.
And that's very much coaching too. It's really like, what do
Yeah.
you want? What would you like to do? But kind of like Agassi or Tiger Woods has a golf coach or a tennis coach saying, hey, try this or try this.
Yeah.
Or it's really,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Well, if I love that it would be helpful in some way.
It's just lovely that you said yes. It's been a long time since Turnaround House.
Yeah. I love you, honey.
I love you too, Katie.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sweetheart. Bye.
Welcome. Bye-bye.